Listen, I'm not particularly proud of this, but I'm going to give you my tips on how to get started with mindfulness meditation. I'm not particularly qualified to do this other than the fact that I have done it for the past couple of years. I mean, I don't have a linen shirt. I don't have incense in my house. I'm not a weird, I don't wear like positive vibes shirts or something. Like I don't use the word vibration very often, but I have kind of cut my teeth on this myself. And so I've got friends that I would like to get started with this. So here's what I think you should know about getting started with mindfulness meditation. All right, first things first, you can't tell anybody that you're doing this. It's super embarrassing. They will lose respect for you in a heartbeat because you'll sound like some ninny, like a nincompoop. You'll sound like a positive, good vibes kind of guy. You'll sound like a have you entered on the journey to complete happiness today sort of things. Like, I don't know, it sounds weird. It's never gonna go well when you talk to somebody about it. Err on the side of keeping it to yourself when it comes to mindfulness meditation. Number two is find a decent environment to do this in. You don't want people walking in and out. I mean, it's embarrassing. You're sitting there and you're like you have that like, oh, they're like, what are you doing? You don't want to get interrupted with that. I've done it in empty cubicles, in dark offices that weren't being used, under my desk at one office. I've done it in my wife's closet because there was contractors all around my house and I needed to do this mindfulness thing and the worst fear I had was someone in Carhartt like overalls coming in asking me for, an idea. What should we do? What color is this paint over here? And I'm sitting there meditating like, this never happened. So that's number two. Find a good spot to do it. Number three, let's talk about posture. Okay, this is the thing. We call it sitting, like they call it sitting. So you can sit. Most people like have like a pillow. It's hard for me to even say that word. A pillow, and there's some Buddhist word for it. A pillow that you sit on and you do the Indian style thing. I'm like, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm like a very rigid male. I'm a strong, robust, masculine figure. So I can't do the Indian style thing because my hips, essentially I'm inflexible. So I created this, which is a little stool. You simply insert, no, just kidding. You sit like this, so my buttocks go here, and I'm sitting on my knees. So I do it on my knees, not sitting Indian style, because, well, let's be honest, that's how the samurai sat, and they were really cool, and we're looking for any shred of masculinity when we're caught, meditating. So anyways, that's what I've had to do, and besides, it's a piece of wood that I fashioned with my own hands, like just a piece of scrap wood. It's like, all right, at least you get to bring a little arts and crafts to it. So I sit on my knees, and this takes a little while. I can't go all the way down, just sit on my knees without the stool because my legs go super numb. So you can sit, you could do the knees thing, you can lie down, or you can sit in a chair. You could do the pillow Indian style thing. You could even go on a walk. There's a long tradition of like the meditative monastic sort of walking thing. Just find one of these methods that works for you. And then you want to get into an alert and dignified posture. Those are the words that keep coming up when I listen to other people talk about this. And they're good because that might mean something different for you. For me, on my knees, alert spine, dignified head. Like you could be like prostrate, or you could be like, screw you, universe, world, like I'm my own man. Like you just find the posture that works for you. Make it alert and dignified. And not only is it helpful just to get your mind in the right spot, but it's also it's just helpful to think about it. I don't know, you'll have interesting thoughts about it while you're doing, like, what does dignified look like to you? Okay, so that's all I'll say on the posture thing. I'm already getting a little too chopra over here for my own good. 4 is time. Okay, start really simple. Plan on like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Just do a short thing. Do it relatively often, once a week, a couple times a week, whatever. Just start to get in the habit of being in this uncomfortable mode where you do this meditative thing. It's uncomfortable at first. It takes a little while to get used to. All right. Hell, you could do 20 seconds in a day. I mean, there's a thing where you could just wake up. First thing you do in the morning when you wake up, 3 deep breaths. Okay. Every red light you hit, 3 deep breaths. All right. Before every meal. That's a kind of mindfulness meditation, because the thing is, it's not about the discipline. It's not about the sitting. It's about the awareness. And as you get used to it, you realize you need the discipline to get to the awareness most of the time. But just 3 deep breaths randomly throughout the day, intentionally, maybe you have an alarm go off or something like that. That is enough to let you take stock in what's going on, where you are, how do you feel, and just sort of being, rather than getting caught up in the frantic energy of all the doing that you're doing. Again, the Deepak Chopra scarf thing. I don't know why I get into this mode so easily, partly because it's kind of changed my life. But anyways, okay, so start with a short amount of time, 5 to 10 minutes maybe, or do the 3 deep breaths thing. 5 is the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. It's you start to think about your breath, okay? So you found a place that you can go to and do this at. You've decided on a posture and all this other stuff, and you've set your time for you're going to get 5 minutes or 10 minutes away. Now you focus on your breath. Why do we focus on our breath? Well, I don't know. Some read it somewhere else, but suffice it to say, it's a really helpful tool to give your mind something to think on, to focus on, so that you're aware when it goes off and wanders around. They call this the monkey mind, and you will become very familiar with it, where your mind just goes flits about on everything else except for your breath. Well, the only reason why you're aware of that is because you're trying to focus on your breath. It's like an anchor. It's like a thing that makes you aware of, now look at what your mind's doing. So you focus on your breath. It's really relaxing. It's incredibly relaxing. You focus on your breath, in and out. Where do you feel your breath most? For me, it's like right at the back of my sinuses. So I kind of try to put my attention there. So you're focusing on your breath, and eventually, inevitably, your mind wanders away. Just notice it, acknowledge it, and come back to your breath. All right? You don't judge yourself. Don't be like, you stupid idiot, you can't even focus on your breath for 5 minutes, Don't be super judgmental to yourself about it, which is, I don't know, I had to deal with that a bunch. And so when I heard a guy say don't judge, just notice and come back to your breath, that was just really helpful. So do that. You focus on your breath. When your mind goes away, bring it back. Just notice what's going on and come back. Realize that there's a thought being had, that you're thinking over here, and come back. So this whole thing, this whole practice, the only reason why it's awesome is because of this awareness factor, which is you're sitting here on this thing, your breath, which is a natural autonomic thing, your mind descending into your body, trying to connect the two. They're really different. One is ethereal. We have no idea what it's made of. It's seated in the brain maybe, or something like that. Anyways, this mind and this body, 2 different things. You want to get them onto the same sort of wavelength. I hate that I even would say these sorts of things. It's so embarrassing, but I want you to get started with this, because truly it's helped me a great deal. So the breath, it comes down to your breath. You're focusing on this. It's insanely relaxing once you get used to it. Now, it's starts to turn into a well-worn path. You start to grow this habit. And so now when I get to my spot, I got my stool and I sit down, I can go quicker and quicker and quicker into that, okay, I know exactly what to do. I just quicker into that relaxation. Worst case scenario, you end up super relaxed. Best case scenario, it's life-changing, because when your wife gives you that cue you would have normally missed, you notice it. You are really there when your son and you are having this moment, rather than being there. There's not a phone in your hand or anything, but you're thinking about the email. It's so valuable on that level, because the goal is you're training your mind slowly but surely to be better at being a human. So that's enough. Focus on your breath. Okay, that's number 5. First is never talk to anybody about this stuff. Second is find an environment that you can do this in, a trusted place. Third is, what does that say? Oh, posture, alert and dignified. posture. Fourth is time, okay? 5 to 10 minutes to start with, maybe even just 20 seconds doing the 3 deep breaths thing, all right? And then fifth is it's really about your breath. It comes down to your breath. Just focus on your breath, and this is the exercise. Because the more your mind goes out and then comes back to your breath, the more trained it gets, not in just being an expert at thinking about your breath, but at being aware of what the frick is going on around you. Okay, number 6, you don't have to do this alone. There are tons of guided meditation things. On the post at Ice to the Brim, I link to one of them. You should find that. It's what I started out with, 30-minute little deal, very helpful. You can find a bunch at audiodharma.com. You can learn how to spell that yourself because I'm not going to spell it out on the screen because I'm already so embarrassed just to be here talking about this stuff. You don't have to do it alone, though. Do the guided meditation thing. You'll find that it's really helpful when they say, okay, now come back to your breath, because you realize, like, oh my God, I've been thinking about some bullshit way out here doing all this crazy stuff. And you bring it back. Don't judge, yada, yada, yada. You don't have to do it by yourself. Okay, so you've got everything you need to get started. You don't have to be some guru linen shirt wearing weirdo like happiness butterfly bull crap. You can just start sitting, focusing on your breath. You can start with the 3 deep breaths, because the point is just, hey, take stock in the fact that here you are, inventory right now, rather than where we came from, rather than fantasies about tomorrow or what you're building or all this other stuff. You get used to doing this, and it's an exercise, and it makes you better at having thoughts. It makes you a better thinker. It gives you a better quality of being there with the people you love, etc. Yada, yada, yada. You try it out. See for yourself. I have been Chase Wardman Reeves from Internet and Ice to the Brim, and may all your meditation sessions be discreet and worthwhile.